Bonjour and welcome, viewers and students, to Let's Speak French, Parlons Français. These lessons on basic French are short and easy, and if you follow the program regularly, I can assure you that very soon you will be able to understand French quite easily. The previous session focused on the pronoun on. In today's session, we are going to learn all about closed questions, also known as les questions fermées in French. This lesson has been divided into 3 sections. In the first section, I will read out a text that has several closed questions. Then, in the next section, we'll focus on the grammatical aspect by studying the 3 structures associated with closed questions. And finally, in the third section, we'll do an exercise to revise what we learned in today's session. We'll begin the lesson with a French text. This text consists of a dialogue that takes place in a bookstore between a customer and a staff. The customer is looking for a book for his grandson. À la librairie. Employé. Bonjour monsieur. Client. Ah, bonjour mademoiselle. Est-ce que vous cherchez un livre particulier? Oui, je cherche un livre pour mon petit-fils. Il a 12 ans et il adore lire. Alors, ici nous avons la section pour les jeunes. Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? Oui, il a un genre préféré. Il aime beaucoup les livres sur les animaux. Nous avons une série magnifique de ce genre. Les livres sont classifiés selon les animaux. Les mammifères, les reptiles, les insectes et et aussi les oiseaux. Il s'intéresse aux baleines et aux dauphins? Oui, il adore les animaux aquatiques. Son père l'amène souvent à l'aquarium au centre-ville. D'accord. Voici un livre sur les animaux aquatiques. Vient-il avec un CD? Non, mais c'est un livre illustré. Le texte n'est pas trop dur et il y a un glossaire à la fin qui explique certains termes scientifiques. Formidable. Je prends ce livre. Pouvez-vous l'emballer dans du papier cadeau, s'il vous plaît? Oui, certainement. Je vous fais un paquet cadeau. Alors, ça vous coûte 55 €. Vous payez par carte? Non, en espèces. Merci, mademoiselle. Bonne journée. Merci, monsieur, et au revoir. Now I'll read out the English translation of the text. At the bookstore. Staff. Good morning, sir. Client. Oh, good morning, miss. Are you looking for a specific book? Yes, I'm looking for a book for my grandson. He is 12 years old and he loves reading. So this is the children's section. Is there any particular kind of book that he enjoys the most? Yes, there is. He enjoys books on animals. We have a wonderful series on this particular genre of books. The books are classified according to the animals: mammals, reptiles, insects, and and also birds. He is interested in whales and dolphins. Yes, he loves aquatic animals. His father takes him often to the aquarium in the city center. Okay, so here's a book on aquatic animals. Does it include a CD? No, but it's a book with pictures. The text isn't too difficult and there's a glossary at the end that explains some of the scientific terminologies. Fantastic! I'll take this book. Can you gift wrap it for me? Yes, of course, I will wrap the book in decorative paper. So it will be 55 €. Will you be paying by card? No, by cash. Thank you, miss. Have a good day. Thank you, sir, and goodbye. So this was a short text that had several closed questions. In the next section, I will explain to you what a closed question is. And with the help of this text, we'll examine 3 interrogative structures that are associated with closed questions. In the second section of the lesson, we'll focus exclusively on closed questions. Closed questions are a type of question that requires a yes or a no answer. Unlike open-ended questions where the speaker can elaborate his answer, closed questions only need a monosyllabic answer that consists of a yes or a no. In French, there are 3 distinct structures that are associated with closed questions. All 3 structures have been used in the text. We'll first examine these 3 distinct interrogative structures, then we'll examine their answers. The first interrogative structure is the simplest of the 3. To create this kind of question, one needs to manipulate the intonation of the sentence. By raising one's voice at the end of the sentence, one can turn a declarative sentence into a question. Let me illustrate this with a simple sentence. If I lower my voice at the end of the sentence, we have a declarative sentence. He loves reading. Now, if I raise my voice at the end of the sentence, we have a question. He loves reading? As you can see, it's only the intonation that changes the nature of the phrase. In the written script is the question mark that indicates the nature of the sentence. Apart from the difference in punctuation and intonation, the structure of the declarative sentence as well as the question is identical. No addition, no omission, or any inversions are required to change the nature of the phrase. This same rule regarding the punctuation and the intonation is applicable in French as well. A declarative sentence such as Il aime lire can be turned into a question by simply changing the intonation at the end of the sentence. Il aime lire? In the text, we have 2 such instances. Il s'intéresse aux baleines et aux dauphins. Vous payez par carte? The second structure associated with closed questions is similar to the first type, the only difference being the addition of the phrase est-ce que at the beginning. So when you place the phrase est-ce que at the head of a declarative sentence, you turn the sentence into a question. The phrase est-ce que cannot be translated word to word into English, but its presence always indicates a question. Est-ce que tu travailles les samedis? You work on Saturdays? Est-ce que tu es fatigué? Are you tired? Est-ce que tu as une sœur? Do you have a sister? In the text, we have 2 examples of such questions. Est-ce que vous cherchez un livre particulier? Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? In a declarative sentence, the subject is always in the first place. But when the interrogative phrase est-ce que is inserted, this subject is pushed to the second place. If the subject, be it a noun, a proper noun, or a pronoun, begins with a vowel, the phenomenon of elision must be observed and the final E from est-ce que drops and is replaced by an apostrophe. Est-ce que plus subject plus verb, or est-ce que apostrophe plus subject if it begins with a vowel plus verb. And now we come to the third interrogative structure that is associated with closed questions. This structure is known as inversion. An inversion occurs when the verb is placed before the subject. In the text, we have 2 such instances. Vient-il avec un CD? Pouvez-vous l'emballer dans du papier cadeau, s'il vous plaît? Generally, the subject precedes the verb in a declarative sentence. But when the subject is placed after the verb, the sentence turns into a closed question. In the written form, two things must always be remembered when dealing with inversions. The first one is the insertion of the hyphen between the verb and the subject. In the interrogative form, the hyphen is always placed between the verb and the subject, irrespective of its gender and number. And the second point is the inclusion of the letter T when the verb ends with a vowel. This occurs only in the third person singular of certain verbs. Similar to the phenomenon of liaison that serves to facilitate the pronunciation of two adjacent words, the addition of the letter T between the verb and the subject also serves to ease the pronunciation. Arrive-t-il aujourd'hui? Is he coming today? A-t-il faim? Are you hungry? Travaille-t-elle les samedis? She works on Saturdays. In the text, we have the following inversion. Vient-il avec un CD? Here the verb is in the third person singular, yet we do not insert the letter T. This is because the verb does not end with a vowel. So it's mostly with the first group verbs which take the ending E that the letter T is added between the verb and the subject. Before we examine the answers of closed questions, let us compare the three interrogative structures with each other. To do so, let's consider the French equivalents of the question, does she speak French? Going by the three structures seen in this lesson, this question can be translated in the three following ways. Elle parle français? Est-ce qu'elle parle français? Parle-t-elle français? Number 1 is absolutely identical to a declarative sentence. Number 2 is similar to number 1. What distinguishes them is the phrase est-ce que. And number 3 is an inversion, where the verb precedes the subject. All three questions are considered to be closed questions because they can all be answered with a simple yes or a no. Now let us focus on the different ways of answering with a yes or a no. Here too, there are three different ways and the speaker can choose any one. A. The first one is the most simple since it consists only of a monosyllabic answer, either a oui which means yes or a no which means no. In the text, we have two such instances. Il s'intéresse aux baleines et aux dauphins? Oui. Vient-il avec un CD? No. This type of answer can have a slight variation. Sometimes words like certainement, surely or certainly, certainement pas, certainly not, pas du tout, absolutely not, can follow the monosyllabic answer. These additions do not provide any extra information but simply reinforce the monosyllabic reply. In the text, there is one example of this type of answer. Pouvez-vous l'emballer dans du papier cadeau, s'il vous plaît? Oui, certainement. Let me repeat the question and answer it, once in the affirmative and once in the negative. Pouvez-vous l'emballer dans du papier cadeau, s'il vous plaît? Oui, certainement. Pouvez-vous l'emballer dans du papier cadeau, s'il vous plaît? Non, désolé. Or, non, absolument pas. A second type of answer that can be given to closed questions are those where the monosyllabic reply is followed by a repetition of the entire or part of the question. Let me illustrate this with an example. Le livre coûte 55 €? Oui, le livre coûte 55 euros. The reply begins with oui. Then the entire sentence follows as it is. The only change observed is the intonation. I'll again repeat the question and answer. Note the change in intonation. Le livre coûte 55 euros? Oui, le livre coûte 55 euros. If the answer was given in the negative form, it would be non, le livre ne coûte pas 55 euros. Let me repeat both the answers once more. Le livre coûte 55 euros? Oui, le livre coûte 55 euros. Le livre coûte 55 euros? Non, le livre ne coûte pas 55 euros. This example isn't from the text because the dialogue does not include this kind of answer. However, an answer where part of the question is repeated in the reply can be found in the text. Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? Oui, il a un genre préféré. Or, non, il n'a pas un genre préféré. As you can see, except for the phrase est-ce que, the remaining portion of the question has been repeated in the answer. Here are two more replies to this question. The first one is in the affirmative form and the second one in the negative form. Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? Oui, il a un genre préféré. Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? Non, il n'a pas un genre préféré. So when adding an information after a monosyllabic reply, the intonation plays an important role. In addition to a change of intonation, a slight modification may sometimes be necessary before repeating the question. The text does not include this kind of reply, but the following question and answer illustrates the concept. Tu t'appelles Marcel? Oui, je m'appelle Marcel. In this example, this portion of the question, tu t'appelles, has been changed to je m'appelle in the answer. What has been altered here is the subject. We observe this change of subject in English as well. Let me show it to you with the English translation of the question and answer. Is your name Marcel? Yes, my name is Marcel. In the negative form, the answer in French would be Tu t'appelles Marcel? Non, je ne m'appelle pas Marcel. Let me repeat the question and answer it once in the affirmative and once in the negative. Tu t'appelles Marcel? Oui, je m'appelle Marcel. Tu t'appelles Marcel? Non, je ne m'appelle pas Marcel. The second person singular that figures in the question becomes the first person singular in the answer. A similar change takes place with the second person plural as well. Vous regardez un film? Oui, nous regardons un film. Here vous has changed to nous, and this replacement automatically leads to a change in the conjugation. Vous regardez becomes nous regardons. The English equivalent of this example is Are you all watching a film? Yes, we are all watching a film. If the answer was in the negative, it would be Non, nous ne regardons pas un film. Let me repeat the question and answer it once in the affirmative and once in the negative. Vous regardez un film? Oui, nous regardons un film. Vous regardez un film? Non, nous ne regardons pas un film. And finally, a third type of answer that can be given to a closed question is where the monosyllabic reply is followed by a new phrase that adds more information to the reply. Let me illustrate this with an example from the text. Vous payez par carte? Non, en espèces. Before I explain this concept, let us look at the English equivalent. Will you be paying by card? No, by cash. En espèces is a new phrase which does not figure in the question. When the saleswoman asks the client whether he would be paying by card, she specifically mentions a mode of payment. Such a question needs a simple yes or a no answer. But the client chooses to be more specific. So he first replies to the question, then provides further explanation. If the client had simply said no, this negative answer would only serve as a partial answer. It would no doubt mean that the client does not wish to pay by card, but it does not indicate whether the payment would be made by cash or by check. To remove this ambiguity, the client indicates the mode of payment in his reply. Here are two replies to this question. In the negative form, you can either have a simple monosyllabic answer or you could repeat part of the sentence. Vous payez par carte? Non, en espèces. Vous payez par carte? Oui. Or oui par carte. So here we have the three interrogative structures associated with closed questions, along with three different ways of answering them. Before we move on to the next section and revise today's session, let me first display these structures on a table. Il s'intéresse aux baleines et aux dauphins? Oui. Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? Oui, il a un genre préféré. Vient-il avec un CD? Non. Vient-il avec un CD? Non. Pouvez-vous l'emballer dans du papier cadeau, s'il vous plaît? Oui, certainement. Le livre coûte 55 €? Oui, le livre coûte 55 €. Est-ce qu'il a un genre préféré? Oui, il a un genre préféré. Tu t'appelles Marcel? Oui, je m'appelle Marcel. Vous payez par carte? Non, en espèces. Now that you have all the structures before you, let me tell you one final but important point on closed questions. This phenomenon is particular to French language and does not occur in English. When the question is in the negative and the answer is affirmative, instead of saying oui, the answer should be si. This word si also means oui, but it is used only when the question is in the negative form. Let me illustrate this with an example. Tu n'es pas marié? Si, je suis marié. In English, the translation is, aren't you married? Yes, I am married. So as you may have noticed, si means yes. But since the question was in the negative, the answer is not oui, but si. Had the question been, tu es marié? The answer would be oui, since the question is in the affirmative form. The negation is not used with the esque structure, but it can be used with the inversion. However, the place of the negation must be understood. Both the verb and subject will be placed between ne, pas. Since the verb and subject are connected with a hyphen, one cannot separate them. N'es-tu pas marié? Si, je suis marié. N'avez-vous pas d'amis à Londres? Non, nous n'avons pas d'amis à Londres. In this third section, we will revise what we learned in today's session on closed questions. A short exercise has been provided below. We have to choose the right answer from the three options provided. The structure that needs to be used has been indicated within the brackets. Oui, elle travaille à la banque. Inversion. We need to find the question here. The structure that needs to be used for creating the question is inversion. So the right answer would be B. Travaille-t-elle à la banque? Oui, elle travaille à la banque. A uses the esque structure while C expresses the interrogation through intonation. Non, je n'aime pas les fruits. Esque. We again need to find the question. We need to use the esque structure to create the question. A is therefore the right answer since it begins with this structure. B uses the inversion structure while C expresses interrogation through intonation. Oui, je rentre à 11 heures. Intonation. Here again, we need to find the question. The structure that needs to be used for creating the question is intonation. B uses the est-ce structure, so the answer cannot be B. A and C both express interrogation through intonation. To find out which among them is the right answer, we need to look at the reply. Since it begins with we must use the affirmative form in the question. Therefore, the right answer is C, since A uses the negative form. Est-ce qu'elle a 23 ans? Negative monosyllabic answer plus extra information, question partly repeated. We need to find the answer here. The structure that needs to be used for answering is a negative monosyllabic answer plus extra information. This information should consist of the question being partly repeated. C cannot be the right answer because it expresses affirmation. Both A and B express negation. However, A consists of a simple monosyllabic answer. Therefore, the right choice would be B. The portion that has not been repeated in the reply is est-ce que. Ont-ils des cours les après-midi? Affirmative monosyllabic answer plus reinforcement of reply. We again need to find the answer here. The structure that needs to be used for answering is an affirmative monosyllabic answer plus a reinforcement of reply. B cannot be the right answer because it expresses negation. Both A and C express affirmation. However, C consists of a term which reinforces the reply. Therefore, the right choice would be C. A includes extra information which consists of the entire question being repeated. Tu ne viens pas aujourd'hui? Negative monosyllabic answer plus extra information, new phrase. Here again we need to find the answer. The structure that needs to be used for answering is a negative monosyllabic answer plus extra information that consists of a new phrase. A cannot be the right answer because it expresses affirmation. Both B and C express affirmation. However, C consists of added information that is made up partly from the question itself. Therefore, the right choice would be B. B includes extra information which consists of a new phrase which is demain. With this we come to the end of our third lesson on chapter 4. This lesson was divided into 3 parts. In the first part we read a dialogue that had numerous closed questions. In the second part we learned what a closed question is and examined 3 distinct structures that are associated with closed questions. We also learned about the different structures in which the answer could be given. And finally, in the third part, we revised today's lesson by doing an exercise on closed questions. I hope you enjoyed today's session. In the next class, we'll focus on another type of question and answer, why and because. I hope to see you in the next class. Thank you and à bientôt. See you soon.